First up, the 1955D mint mark variety in extremely fine condition, and just how valuable it is in today's market. First, a little background. Abraham Lincoln pennies have been a staple of American coinage since 1909, when the U.S. Mint issued the first Lincoln cent to honor the 100th anniversary of Lincoln's birth. The wheat penny, with the iconic wheat ears on the reverse side, was minted from 1909 all the way until 1958. Now, the 1955D wheat penny, minted in Denver, isn't as famous as the 1955 double-die penny from Philadelphia, but it still holds a lot of interest for collectors, especially when found in high-grade conditions like extremely fine or EF. So what exactly is the D mint mark? It means the coin was minted in Denver. Coins from different mints often have different rarities and values, and the Denver Mint is well known for producing pennies that can vary significantly in condition and value. Extremely fine, or EF, means the coin shows light wear on the highest points, but still retains a lot of its original detail, especially on Lincoln's face, the wheat ears, and the date. It's one of the more collectible grades because the coin looks almost new, but is still circulated enough to have a unique story. Professional grading companies like PCGS and NGC certify coins and give them grades like EF40, EF45, etc., which helps buyers and sellers agree on value. For the 1955D wheat penny, these grades can significantly affect price. So, what's the value of a 1955D wheat penny in EF condition today? Well, based on recent auction sales, coin dealer listings, and online marketplaces, you can expect to see values ranging roughly from $300 for standard EF coins. But here's the twist. If the coin is a high-end extremely fine, like EF45 or EF45, or even an about uncirculated O5258, prices can climb to $200, especially if the coin has a sharp strike, good color, and no major blemishes. Why is this penny not as valuable as the famous 1955 double die? Because the double die error from Philadelphia is super rare and eye-catching. Well, the Denver Mint didn't produce that error in 1955, but don't underestimate the 1955D. It's a solid collector's coin because it represents the last few years of the wheat penny era. And the Denver Mint's pennies often have unique die varieties that some collectors seek out. Here are some tips if you think you have a 1955D wheat penny in EF condition. First, check the mint mark carefully. It'll be a small D just below the date on the front right side of the coin. Second, assess the wear. Look for crisp details on Lincoln's hair and beard, and clear wheat stock lines on the reverse. Never clean your coin. Cleaning can reduce its value drastically. If you want a professional opinion, take your coin to a local coin dealer or send it to a grading company. So to wrap up, the 1955D Lincoln wheat penny in extremely fine condition is a moderately valuable coin, typically worth a few dollars, depending on its grade. It's not the holy grail of pennies, but it's definitely a nice find for any collector, especially in EF or better grades. D Monticello nickel, specifically in fine condition. We'll explore what makes this coin so special, why collectors seek it, and what it's worth in today's market in cold, hard dollars. So whether you're a seasoned numismatist or just getting started, stick around because this coin's story might surprise you. First off, let's set the stage. The Jefferson nickel, featuring Thomas Jefferson on the obverse and Monticello, the Jefferson family home on the reverse, has been a staple of American coinage since 1938. The 1996 nickel came from the Denver Mint, which is identified by the small D mint mark on the reverse side near the rim. But what makes the 1996 D Monticello nickel stand out? Generally, 1996 nickels are quite common and not considered especially rare. However, a handful of these coins, particularly those in fine condition, have started to gain attention among collectors for subtle reasons that we'll unpack shortly. Before we get into value, let's quickly clarify what fine condition means in coin collecting. Coins are graded on a scale from poor P1 to mint state MS70, with fine typically referring to grades F12 to F15. In fine condition, the nickel will have moderate wear, but the main design elements, Jefferson's profile and the Monticello building, are still clear and identifiable, with some details worn down. It's not crisp like an uncirculated coin, but it's far from beat up now. Here's where things get interesting. Normally, a 19960 Jefferson nickel in fine condition is worth just its face value, $120, but there are exceptions. In 1996, there was a limited production run of certain nickels that showed variations like doubling on the Monticello or slight errors in the mint mark placement. These errors and varieties are what collectors really hunt for, and when authenticated, they can command premiums in the market. Additionally, some 19960 Monticello nickels come from low mintage die varieties or exhibit unusual toning, striking, or mint errors, making them much more desirable. So while a typical 1990-60 fine condition nickel is worth just a few dollars, a rare variety or error coin can be worth tens, even thousands of dollars. So what's the actual value of these coins today? Here's the scoop based on recent market data and auction results. Nickel with a prominent doubling of the Monticello building in fine grade recently sold at auction for around $100. Meanwhile, a typical circulated fine coin sells at face value or slightly above. So, to wrap up, while the 19960 Monticello nickel in fine condition is usually a common coin worth just a few dollars, rare varieties and errors can significantly boost its value to collectors. If you happen to find one in your change or collection, it's definitely worth a closer look. Next up, the 1945D Abraham Lincoln Wheat penny, specifically in fine condition. What makes this penny so special? How much is it really worth in today's market? Stick around and let's find out. The Lincoln Wheat penny, also known as the Wheat cent, was minted from 1909 to 1958. It features Abraham Lincoln on the obverse, a design created by Victor David Brenner, and the iconic wheat ears on the reverse, symbols of prosperity and growth. The 1945 penny is one of the last years for the wheat reverse design, and the D mint mark means it was struck at the Denver Mint. 1945 was a significant year. World War II was ending, and the United States was transitioning to peace and rebuilding. Coins from this era carry a lot of historical weight. But while the 1945D penny isn't extremely rare in itself, certain factors make some specimens more valuable than others. So, what exactly affects the value of the 1945D Lincoln Wheat penny? The key things are its condition, mint mark, and any unique characteristics such as errors or varieties. Today, we're focusing on a 1945D penny in fine condition. Fine condition means the coin has moderate wear but all major details are still visible. Lincoln's profile is clear. The wheat stalks on the reverse show some detail, though they're worn down and there's no major damage. Now to the big question: what is this coin worth today? According to recent market data and price guides, like the Red Book and online auction results, a 1945D Lincoln Wheat penny in fine condition typically sells for around $200.00. The price varies based on the exact degree of wear, appeal, and demand. Why this price range? Well, the 1945D Lincoln Wheat penny is relatively common because millions were minted. However, coins that have been well preserved, even with moderate wear, still appeal to collectors because they represent a key historical era. To sum it all up, the 1945D Lincoln Wheat penny in fine condition is a modestly valuable coin today, generally worth between $230. It's a wonderful collectible that captures a pivotal moment in American history. If you're starting a collection or just love historical coins, this penny is a great piece to have. Next up, the 1950 Jefferson nickel, specifically the no mint mark version, and uncovering what makes this Monticello design so special, even when the coins are damaged. We'll also break down their value in today's market. So, whether you're holding one in your pocket or found it in a jar of coins, stick around because you might be sitting on some unexpected treasure. Let's start with some background. The Jefferson nickel has been in circulation since 1938, featuring a portrait of Thomas Jefferson on the front and his famous home, Monticello, on the back. In 1950, the U.S. Mint produced nickels at 3 facilities: Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. The key point here: Philadelphia coins did not carry a mint mark during this time, which means the 1950 no mint mark Jefferson nickel came from Philadelphia. Collectors always pay attention to mint marks because they can affect a coin's rarity and value. For 1950 nickels, the D indicates Denver, the S means San Francisco, and the absence of a mint mark points to Philadelphia. But why is the no mint mark 1950 nickel so interesting? First off, the 1950 Philadelphia nickel is among the more common Jefferson nickels in circulation, with a mintage of about 135 million coins. So in pristine condition, these coins aren't typically worth a fortune, usually just their face value or slightly above for circulated examples. But here's where things get fascinating. Even damaged coins, those with scratches, dents, discoloration, or cleaning marks, can have value depending on certain factors. Why? Because the 1950 no mint mark nickel is a key date for collectors trying to complete sets of Jefferson nickels. Plus, damaged coins are often more affordable, making them accessible for beginner collectors. When assessing coin value, experts use a grading scale from poor P1 to mint state MS70. A heavily damaged coin might fall into the good G or about good AG categories. For 1950 nickels without a mint mark, even coins in good condition can be worth several dollars, which is well above face value. A typical circulated 1950 no mint mark Jefferson nickel with damage might fetch anywhere between $300 depending on severity. On auction sites and coin dealers, you can find these nickels selling at these prices. Keep in mind, rarity also plays a role in pricing. The 1950 Philadelphia nickel is relatively common, but if your damaged coin shows unusual features like double dies, mint errors, or die cracks, it could be worth significantly more, sometimes thousands of dollars if you're just starting your Jefferson nickel collection. Damaged 1950 no mint mark nickels are a great entry point. They're affordable, easy to find, and give you a tangible piece of American history. Just remember, avoid cleaning your coins, especially with harsh chemicals or abrasives. Cleaning reduces value dramatically and can destroy collector interest. So to wrap up, the 1950 no mint mark Jefferson nickel may seem like a common coin, but even damaged examples have value in today's market, usually $1,000. Keep an eye out for any unique traits or errors, and don't be discouraged by wear and tear. These nickels are a great piece of history that still capture the attention of collectors everywhere. Next up, the 1957 Abraham Lincoln Wheat Penny, but not just any 1957 penny. The one without a mint mark, in good condition, and why it's still so valuable in today's market. The Lincoln Wheat Penny, or wheat cent as collectors call it, was minted from 1909 to 1958. It's called wheat because the reverse side features the stalks of wheat flanking the denomination. This design symbolizes prosperity and was used before the Lincoln Memorial replaced it in 1957. Pennies were produced in large quantities, but that doesn't mean all of them are equal when it comes to value. Today, we'll explore why the 1957 penny without a mint mark, meaning it was struck at the Philadelphia Mint, can be quite valuable, especially in good condition. From 1957, pennies were minted in Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. Coins minted in Denver have a D mint mark, and those from San Francisco have an S. Coins from Philadelphia typically do not have a mint mark, which is the case for the 1957 penny without the mark. Collectors often look for these distinctions because coins from each mint can vary in rarity and value. But why is the no mint mark penny important? Well, Philadelphia was the main mint, and although millions of these pennies were made, finding one in high-grade condition is less common. When we talk about coin value, condition is king. Coins are graded on a scale from poor P1 all the way to mint state MS70. A 1957 penny without a mint mark found in circulated condition, meaning it's worn from everyday use, is worth just a few dollars above face value. But if you find a 1957 no mint mark penny in good to excellent condition, meaning it has sharp details, minimal scratches, and retains its original luster, it can be worth significantly more to collectors. Keep in mind, coins with cleaning damage, corrosion, or other flaws lose value quickly. So always handle your coins with care and consider professional grading if you think you have a valuable specimen. So, what's the current value of a 1957 Lincoln wheat penny without a mint mark in good condition? Here's a quick rundown based on market trends in 2025. The 1957 no mint mark Lincoln wheat penny is a great entry-level collectible coin, affordable, historically rich, and a staple in many collections. Plus, it represents the end of an era, since 1958 was the last year for the wheat reverse. Whether you're a beginner or a seasoned collector, the 1957 penny offers a perfect blend of history and value. And with patience, you might just find one in your pocket or change that's worth more than you think. Next up, the 1981 Monticello Jefferson nickel, specifically the ones with a P mint mark that are in extra condition. These nickels might look ordinary at first glance, but they can actually be surprisingly valuable in today's market. So, stick around as we explore what makes these coins special and how much they could be worth right now. First, a quick history lesson. The Jefferson nickel has been a staple in American coinage since 1938. It features Thomas Jefferson, the third president of the United States, on the obverse, and since 1938, the reverse side has prominently displayed Monticello, Jefferson's Virginia estate. In 1981, the U.S. Mint produced millions of Jefferson nickels with the Monticello design on the back, minted in Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. The P mint mark indicates the coin was minted in Philadelphia. Now, while most 1981 nickels are common and hold only face value, there's a subset of these coins that can command a premium, particularly those with the P mint mark in extra condition. By extra condition, we mean coins that have never been circulated, maintaining sharp details, full luster, and virtually no wear. Extra condition coins are typically graded by professional services like PCGS or NGC. Grades such as MS65, MS66, or even higher indicate mint state, which can dramatically affect a coin's value. So, why are these 1981 P Monticello nickels valuable? It mostly comes down to condition and rarity. While billions of these nickels were minted, most ended up in circulation, where they got scratches, dings, and general wear. Those pristine coins that stayed untouched are much scarcer. Mintages for 1981 Philadelphia nickels were very high, but only a small fraction survive in high mint, state grade. So, what's the actual value today? Well, if you have a 1981 P nickel graded MS65 or better, you could expect to see prices ranging from about $300, depending on the grading service and market demand. If you want to spot these coins in your own collection or at coin shops, look for sharp rim edges, fully defined details on Monticello, especially the pillars and roofline, and a bright, lustrous surface with minimal marks and a quick tip. The P mint mark is located on the obverse, just to the right of Monticello's dome on the reverse for nickels from 1980 onwards, but in 1981, it's on the obverse side under Jefferson's portrait near the rim. Also, keep in mind that coin values fluctuate based on the market, collector interest, and grading trends. So if you think you have a 1981 P Monticello nickel in extra condition, it's a good idea to get it professionally graded and appraised. Alright, that wraps up our deep dive into the most valuable 1981 Monticello Jefferson nickels with the P mint mark in extra condition. Next up, the Abraham Lincoln wheat penny, specifically the 1918 issue without a mint mark. And not just any coin, we're talking about the ones in extra fine condition. If you're a coin collector or just curious about coin values, stick around because this could be your next treasure. Let's start with some background. The Lincoln wheat penny, first minted in 1909, was a tribute to Abraham Lincoln's 100th birthday. It replaced the Indian head penny and featured the beloved portrait of Lincoln on the obverse and the distinctive wheat stalks on the reverse, hence the name wheat penny. 1918 was an interesting year for pennies because the U.S. Mint was producing coins at 3 different facilities: Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. The Philadelphia coins had no mint mark, which is key here. The 1918 Lincoln wheat penny without a mint mark means it was struck at the Philadelphia Mint, the original and oldest mint in the country. Unlike the Denver D or San Francisco S minted pennies, these Philadelphia coins didn't carry a mint mark, making them more common but not necessarily less valuable. When collectors talk about coin condition, they use a grading system ranging from poor to mint state. Extra fine, or XF, sits near the top of this scale, right below about uncirculated and mint state grades in extra fine condition. A 1918 wheat penny will show moderate wear on the highest points, but still retain most of the fine details. The wheat stalks on the reverse will be clearly visible, the lettering sharp, and Lincoln's profile well defined. These coins have been gently circulated, but carefully preserved in today's market. A 1918 Lincoln wheat penny without a mint mark in extra fine condition generally sells for about $150. Zero depending on the exact quality, luster, and eye appeal. Why such a range? Well, grading is subjective, and coins with exceptional color or sharpness command a premium. Also, the coin's provenance, whether it's from a famous collection or accompanied by certification from reputable grading companies like PCGS or NGC, can push the price higher, but the no mint mark 1918 pennies are still a great collectible coin for beginners and seasoned collectors alike because of their historical significance and relatively affordable price point. Next up, the 1948 Abraham Lincoln wheat penny without a mint mark. But not just any penny, we're focusing on those with a rare black shade and some damage, and what those coins are worth in today's market. Now, the Lincoln wheat penny has been a favorite for collectors ever since it was first minted in 1909, but the 1948 penny without a mint mark stands out for several reasons. Before we jump into the value, let's get some background first off. What exactly is a wheat penny? It's called that because of the 2 stylized wheat ears on the back of the coin, which were part of the design from 1909 to 1958. The obverse features the famous profile of Abraham Lincoln. Now, 1948 pennies were primarily minted in Philadelphia and Denver. Philadelphia coins from that era typically don't have a mint mark at all, so the 1948 pennies without a mint mark are from Philadelphia. This is important because the mint mark affects rarity and value. The no mint mark coins generally had higher production numbers than Denver's, making them less rare. So, why are collectors interested in a 1948 penny without a mint mark? Well, the 1948 penny is part of the post-war era, and many coins from this time started to show interesting toning, coloration, and yes, damage. One of the most fascinating variations you might come across is the black shade toning. This usually happens due to environmental factors like oxidation or storage conditions. Some collectors love toned coins because they add character, while others prefer clean, uncirculated specimens. Now, let's talk about damage. When I say damage, I mean things like scratches, discoloration, corrosion spots, or even some bending in coin grading. These flaws typically lower a coin's value, but sometimes certain types of toning or damage can create a unique appearance that intrigues collectors. In the case of the 1948 penny with black shade damage, this dark toning can sometimes hide or exaggerate these flaws. For a typical collector or seller, these coins would be valued lower than pristine ones. But for certain buyers, the unique black patina combined with the historical significance can add niche value. So, what's the value of a 1948 Abraham Lincoln wheat penny without a mint mark, in black shade and damaged condition? Well, the short answer, it depends. For a heavily damaged coin in this category, think heavy scratches, corrosion, or discoloration, the value typically ranges from around $250. These are common and mostly collectible for historical interest rather than investment. Keep in mind, the 1948 no-mint mark penny is not a super rare coin millions were minted. So the real value is in condition and collector demand. If you want to identify your 1948 Lincoln penny without a mint mark, here's what to do. Look, at the front if there's no D under the date, you've got a Philadelphia coin. Examine the toning closely. Black shade is often uneven and patchy, and check for damage carefully. Important, never clean your coin aggressively. Cleaning can reduce value drastically. Instead, store your pennies in a dry, cool place away from sunlight and moisture. To wrap up, the 1948 Lincoln wheat penny without a mint mark is a solid piece of American numismatic history. Black shade toning and damage can impact value, sometimes negatively, sometimes adding a little niche interest. But for the most part, these pennies are affordable collectibles with sentimental and educational value. If you have one of these pennies lying around, don't throw it away. It might be worth a few dollars or more, especially if it has that intriguing black shade toning. Next up, the 1998 Jefferson nickel with a P-mint mark featuring the iconic Monticello design. But not just any coin, one in very fine condition that's catching attention in the collector's market. So, what makes this coin stand out? And how much could it be worth today? The Jefferson nickel has been a staple of American coinage since 1938, showcasing the profile of Thomas Jefferson on the obverse, and the Monticello, his historic home in Virginia, on the reverse. Over the years, subtle design changes, mint mark variations, and condition have turned some nickels into prized collectibles. The 1998 Jefferson nickel is particularly interesting because it was produced during the period when the Philadelphia Mint resumed minting nickels with a P-mint mark for circulation, starting in 1980. Before that, Philadelphia minted nickels had no mint mark at all. This detail is crucial for collectors. The reverse design of the nickel features Monticello, Thomas Jefferson's home, which has become a symbol of this coin series. The P-mint mark indicates it was struck at the Philadelphia Mint. Now, why does this matter? Well, mint marks help numismatists trace the coin's origin and can significantly impact value, especially when paired with condition. Before we get into the value, let's talk about coin grading. Coins are graded on a scale from poor to mint state. The very fine condition, abbreviated as VF, is considered a mid-grade condition. Coins in VF have moderate wear, but all major details are clear and visible. For a 1998 P nickel, a VF coin shows wear on the high points of Jefferson's hair and the Monticello dome, but the lettering and details remain crisp and readable. Alright, the big question: how much is a 1998 P Monticello Jefferson nickel in very fine condition worth today? The answer might surprise you. In general, circulated Jefferson nickels from the 1990s aren't highly valuable because they were minted in huge numbers. A typical 1998 P nickel in circulated condition might be worth just its face value, $100, but when we focus on the Monticello design specifically, collectors sometimes seek nickels with exceptional qualities like those with certain errors, proof coins, or coins in extremely high grades. For example, proof coins or those with mint errors can fetch anywhere from a few dollars to hundreds. But a standard 1998 P Monticello nickel in very fine condition, without any error, usually has a modest premium over face value. Based on current market trends and recent sales on platforms like eBay and collector forums, a 1998 P Monticello nickel in very fine condition typically sells for about $190. That's roughly 2 to 10 times face value. So, while the 1998 P Monticello nickel in very fine condition isn't going to make you rich overnight, it's still a neat piece for collectors. Why? Because coins like these are the building blocks of a great collection, representing history, craftsmanship, and the fun of hunting for coins with subtle differences. Next up, the Monticello Jefferson nickel from 2003 with a P-mint mark, specifically in extremely fine condition. If you're a coin enthusiast or just curious about rare coins and their values, you're in the right place. So, why is this particular Jefferson nickel from 2003 so interesting? And what makes the Monticello reverse design so iconic? Let's jump right in. The Jefferson nickel is one of the most enduring coins in the U.S. Mint's history. Introduced in 1938, it features Thomas Jefferson on the obverse and his famous Virginia home, Monticello, on the reverse. The design went through several changes over the years, but the Monticello reverse remained a staple until the Westward Journey series in 2000. For the 2003 P nickel is significant because it was the last full year before the Westward Journey nickels changed the reverse design. That means this coin marks the end of an era for Jefferson nickels with the classic Monticello now. What does the P mint mark stand for? The P indicates the coin was minted at the Philadelphia Mint. Philadelphia coins didn't always carry a mint mark, but starting in 2000, the U.S. Mint began adding the P to nickels, dimes, quarters, and half dollars. This makes the 2003 P nickel a bit more collectible because it's part of a newer practice. And collectors want complete sets with the Philadelphia Mint mark included. When we talk about coin grading, terms like extremely fine or EF have very specific meanings. For the 2003 P Jefferson nickel, extremely fine condition means the coin shows only slight wear on the highest points, with most of the original details still sharp and clear. In fact, an extremely fine coin will have a strong, detailed image of Monticello on the back, with minimal signs of handling or wear. So, how much is this coin worth in today's market? The value of a 2003 P Jefferson nickel in extremely fine condition is generally modest because these coins were minted in very high numbers, over 700 million nickels in 2003 alone. That makes the coin very common. Most collectors can pick up a 2003 P nickel in EF condition for about $140 over face value. That's not a huge premium, but for those who collect by date and mint mark, it's a necessary coin to complete sets. Alright, that's a wrap on the 2003 P Monticello Jefferson nickel in extremely fine condition. While it may not be the most valuable coin out there, it's a neat piece of numismatic history and a key to any Jefferson nickel collection. If you found this video helpful, please hit that like button, subscribe for more coin insights, and drop a comment below if you have questions about Jefferson nickels or any other coins. Thanks for watching and happy collecting!